What's going on, Jerry, my man? It's NBA podcast time.
NBA podcast time. We got our first no call, no show.
I know, man. What happened to you the first time you did that at work?
Usually it's pretty harsh reprimand, like either a firing or just, like, hey, like that happens again, you're fired.
Can you get fired from a free job?
Should we fire Todd?
Well, maybe
you know what's even worse is I live next door to the man, directly next door, and his truck and his wife's car were home, so they are home.
Maybe, I don't know. We could speculate all we want, or we could have just called him.
Yeah, he doesn't answer the text. He's as good as dead.
Yeah, same here. Is that what we become now, Jerry?
Oh yeah, if no one answers my text, I'm hell with calling. I'm like, if I have to call somebody, there's something seriously going on. And then when I do get a hold of them, it's like I forgot phone etiquette now. So it's just like I blurt out like what I would do in a text. Like it's like, hey, what are you doing this afternoon at about 3 o'clock? I'm gonna be around there. And it's like, all right, see you later. Click.
Yeah, we have literally. What do we? We're wrapping up season 2 of the Morning Hardwood. I don't think I've ever called you.
No. And you know what's funny is that actually there's a lot of times where I'll send a long text, especially to my girlfriend, especially if we're in a fight. And then if she's not answering it, I'll call her and say, look at the text. And it's just like, can you just tell me? Like, no, I wrote it out in text. It says exactly what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. Look at it that way.
Do you do some revision? Is there
yeah.
All right, so there's.
And then you know what? There are sometimes revisions where I'll reread it after I've already sent it, and I'm like, I shouldn't have said that, and then I'll re-say something like, as in this, or like what I mean by that is this. So it's like revisions after the final draft has already gone in.
I think we can agree men will be men.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I've resorted to the. Have you used the little voice text?
Oh God, yeah. All the
you
time.
do that?
That's what I do all the time because I drive
when you're driving.
Most of the time.
Yeah, when you're driving. Yeah.
So I've got my earpiece in and I voice text everything.
No, not that. Not the actual send the audio.
Oh no,
no, you don't use that.
No, I haven't. I haven't started.
I always send the audio.
Do you?
Because it's faster than texting,
sure.
and it's like they can get what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're gonna hear the tone in your voice.
And I sent those to our friend Brandon, and he's like, "Why are you sending me this shit?" I'm like, "Cause I was driving, dude, and I'm like getting ready to meet you. I figured you'd want to hear what I had to say." But that I like a little bit better, Jay, because it's unlike a phone call. Like they can't respond to you.
True.
And if you have like a lot to say in 20 seconds, they might want to retort to some of it.
Yeah, and
especially if
so they might text back. You might shoot a voicemail off, get a text back, and then you'll text to it. So it's different lines of communication.
Yeah. What's Monday? We're almost in April, Jerry.
Yeah, we got less than 10 games left for most teams in the NBA. They're just about coming to the home stretch of their season.
All right, Jerry. Well, how was your Easter? I know it's the day after as we're recording this.
Easter was rough. I was sick from Friday until today, pretty much. I went to work at 10 o'clock today and left by 2, so it was a slow day for me. But it was weird. Like the Easter, I felt horrible. Today, I just felt like fuzzy. Like I was just trying to do simple math in my head. And I couldn't do it, so I was like, the hell with work right now. I can't like deal with clients and deal with people right now because I sound retarded. I can't think of words to put together. So I took a few-hour nap, and now actually I'm feeling a lot better. My nose is still stuffy, but I feel a lot better. So
yeah, you sound a little sick, but the vocabulary's there, the cohesion's there.
I think I just needed that nap, a few-hour nap.
Let's hope your employer's also listening. It's like, oh man, he talked really good last night.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have sold that. Well, Jerry, so Easter. Sick all day? In the bed?
Sick. Not in the bed. I went to the girlfriend's parents' house, but I sat on the couch and watched golf all day, which is good because I wanted to watch some of the good golf that was going on this weekend. We had Rory playing. Actually, he lost to go into the finals, but then Louis Oosthuizen and Jason Day playing for the finals. And Jason Day took the #1 spot in the world. And I'm a big fan of his, so I'm happy to hear that.
I couldn't get to the crickets fast enough, Jerry.
Whatever. Golf fans unite.
Yeah, so my Easter was a little bit different than that.
Yeah?
I got out of going to church.
Really? I went to church, though. I did go to church.
I feel horrible, but I just I couldn't do it. She goes to a Catholic church. Catholic mass is
gotcha.
It's tough, and they were gone for 2 hours, Jerry.
Ooh, that is tough.
And I got a new puppy, and so I thought and that it's going on an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh shit, the rapture happened. Like here I am sitting at home, and like Jesus came, and like I'm not saved because I skipped out on
You're
the most
home with
important.
the puppy.
Yeah, and then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? If Jesus did come, like all dogs go to heaven. So like,
true.
He's obviously not back yet.
Just hold on to him.
Yeah. Hold on to that leash really tight.
Like we got this dog, but we got this man's hand that's holding onto it. All we took was his hand though, so that's all you got. Yeah. And you're left on earth with one hand. You're like, fucking dumbass idea. I shouldn't have held the dog's leash.
Yeah. Yeah, the dog's eventually going to outgrow that leash. Pop it off, and I'll see you in hell.
We're getting our new puppy in Friday.
All right.
I'm excited about that. So also something that was excitement. You and I went to the Magic game. We didn't really get to recap on that, but I got to go into the locker room. I sat in Aaron Gordon's seat. This was during the first quarter. It was pretty cool. And something really cool was I was being given a tour of their locker room, of their facilities, of their physical conditioning areas, of their practice courts, and I was given this tour by the COO, and I had no idea. His name's Charlie. It's Charles. I don't even know his name, but he's the COO of the Magic. And after he was done, I actually got to go in the press box and do stuff like that, and like sat like acting like I was giving an interview. And after I was done, he left, and I shook his hand, and I was like, "Nice to meet you." And I was like telling jokes the whole time, acting like an ass. I'm wearing a Cleveland jersey, going through the Magic's locker room. I'm sitting in like everyone else is in suits. Like going through this tour, you could tell they're all bigwigs. They're like, there to actually meet the COO, and that's really why they're there. I'm there like just trying to touch rim while I'm in the practice court. I'm sitting in Aaron Gordon's seat. I'm sitting in all their seats, like getting pictures taken of me. And then afterward, I shake Charles, whatever his name is. I'm embarrassed that I don't remember his name.
Charles Schwab.
But I shake his hand, and I asked a few other the girls that were giving us the tour. I said, "What does Charles do for the Magic?" And they said, "He's the COO." And I was like, "Oh."
Well, let's go back to that tour, Jerry, because like that's really unique.
Yeah,
and that's
something
cool. That's something that not all of us as NBA fans get to do.
Here at RCR Radio, we get back access to things like that.
Yeah. So walk me through this, Jerry. When you got to the Magic, did you get to go in the Magic locker room?
Yes.
What's the most impressive thing you saw?
Well, one, it's finger activated. You got to go in using your thumbprint. And then when you go in, they explained everything. Like he would go through and do like little trivia questions, but it's ginormous. It's so luxurious. They have their seat area behind. Probably I would say the most impressive thing is they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. And they want the players actually to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner there, so they know what they're eating throughout the day. So they're controlling their diets.
Eating not in the locker room, or they have a separate like dining hall?
No, it's like right behind the locker room, and it's just a bunch of lazy boys and couches and Xboxes and stuff like that. And it's like a little tiny kitchen, but then the big kitchen's in the back where chefs make them food. And that's what he said. He said we prefer they eat when they're in town, breakfast, lunch, and dinner all here, because they want them.
That means they're practicing too.
Correct, practicing, but also like get here before practice, eat, then practice. They want to see what they're consuming throughout the day.
What did you see in the locker rooms? Like I remember I toured the Jaguars locker room, and you saw some pretty sweet shoes.
Yeah, giant shoes. I have a picture of because I sat in Aaron Gordon's. He's the hot man in campus right now in Orlando. So I sat in his seat, took a few pictures there, but shoes everywhere. All their stuff laying out. Obviously, these tours aren't done with people like asses like me that sit in their seats because their phones are laying everywhere. Like I sat down and I didn't even notice until after I took the picture. Aaron Gordon's phone was like lit up, so it was getting a call, and I was like, damn, like these guys' shit's everywhere, just laid out, because nobody goes to like it's finger activated, and the people that are going through it, like I said, are not morons like me, like wearing a Cleveland jersey sitting in the seats. But it was fun. It was cool. It's a giant circle. Obviously that's most locker rooms I think are giant circles now. It's just for communication, so you can't hide in a corner. That's what we were told. But then also the lighting in it, it's super, super light. And I didn't know this. He said, "Why is it so light in here? Why is it so bright?" And I didn't know. And he said it's to make sure that the players don't have to adjust from the court lighting to here, so it's the same exact lighting.
Oh, man, they're really thinking things through, aren't they?
They think a lot of shit through for that. Yeah.
Now, Do they have like a game room or somewhere where they? I mean, I know you said Xbox. Is that separate from the locker room?
Yes, it is. It's right behind the locker room because the locker room's like this circle. So then there's rooms that you go behind the circle. It's a hallway completely surrounding it, and then rooms going off of that. And one of those rooms is that room where they kind of eat. But then in that is a bunch of Xboxes, PlayStations, and a bunch of games.
What size screen?
Big. It was. I mean, enormous.
It's over 60.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Over 60.
Enormous screen. Yeah.
Like 80.
I don't know. It
was
bigger
bigger than something you've seen.
Bigger than something I would ever have in my house or anything.
I got you. That's really cool, man. And I know being at that game, what did you see from your Cavs? Because I know we both talked about it that night. It was
sloppy play.
Yeah.
Very sloppy. I don't know what's going on with Cleveland. They're in first. I think that's all they care about, to be completely honest. LeBron, I have my opinion about what he's doing with all the media stuff, the way he's trying to create his super team, and all the rumors that he's kind of speculating he's not following the Cavs anymore on Twitter or Instagram. That kind of shit is weird, but it's really, I think he's just stirring media attention, and he doesn't care. He knows that they're in first place as long as they stay in first in the East, which they are. It looks like with 10 games left, they're 3 games ahead of Toronto. I don't see them, falling to that. So, I mean, really, they're not playing very hard. I want to see them, though, turn up the intensity before the playoffs. But they do have the luxury of being able to not play hard until the playoffs, because it's not like they're going to face some team that could upset them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the bottom of the standing, none of those teams are going to give them a hard time or like even win a game until the second round. But the media's got to talk about something, and I know LeBron unfollowing the Cavs, LeBron saying what he's got to say. Why do it now?
The superstar team, here's what I'm gathering, is that he's kind of shooting out a message. This is my own interpretation of it. He's shooting out a message to Kyrie and Kevin Love saying, if we don't win it this year, I'm not growing any younger. Like, I will dismember this team. And I think that's true. I think he knows that. I don't think he's leaving Cleveland. He's not that stupid. He's not a retard. He's not going to ruin his career. Because he leaves Cleveland, he'll be the most villain basketball player of all time. And he doesn't want to end his career in being the villain. He doesn't. He hated that role in Miami. He hates it. And why? Why leave? Where else are you going to go?
Well, listen to this theory.
Sure.
Does he really care about the fans? I mean, think about it. He watched the fans torch his jerseys. And then when he came back, they loved him again.
He cares about Cleveland for sure.
I don't. Maybe.
Here's why he's able to opt out of his contract. I think at this point in his career, he's okay with taking less money. He's okay with taking like Dwayne Wade's stance when they all went to Miami, and Dwayne Wade took $5 million less a year for all of them to get there. I think he's okay with that, and that's why he's putting his contract in that area. Because if now next year things don't work out, they trade away Kyrie, they trade away Kevin Love. Now they've got a whole ton of room. And then they say, hey, LeBron, here's what we're going to do with your contract. We're going to get you whatever you want, whoever you want, obviously, for the next few years. And we'll give you, we'll give you $10 million a year if that's fine with you, or whatever he wants. And he has the ability to do whatever he wants. Really, he does. I heard something maybe it was a few nights ago, I was listening to, once again, the speculation of LeBron's super team. But they were saying LeBron is the only person that they could see in sports today that has complete control over a franchise. And they said last year they were saying in a meeting with LeBron and the rest of the GM, the rest of the owners, everybody like that, they're saying, all right, well, our next step is to get Mike Miller. And LeBron straight up said this in the meeting, like, no, we have Mike Miller. And they're like, well, we got to first clear off. And he's like, we have Mike Miller. It's fine. Like that, he already had talked to Mike Miller, made
it's
the deal.
Not,
it's not.
Well, here's where. Here's what I'm thinking, Jerry, is that LeBron owns his own agency company.
Correct.
Agents that talk to GMs all over the league. Like I'm not saying LeBron spends a vast amount of time like worrying about that side of the business during the season, but they're giving him some kind of report, I imagine.
Oh, for sure.
That has the pulse of the NBA and what every GM's talking about.
For sure.
There's never been a player like this.
No.
In sports. He owns Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is signing with him. The number 1 draft pick is signing with his company.
Yeah.
So he's making money off of other players.
They Clutch Sports or something?
Clutch Sports.
Clutch Sports.
You could.
Clutch Sports, seven finals, 2 wins. Is
yeah.
that really Clutch?
little clutch. You know,
Yeah.
maybe the motorcycle
Like
clutch.
a hint of touch of clutch. Like if you're just making, if you're making a pasta, you're like just a touch of clutch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not Big Shot Bob clutch, but it's it's I mean he knows everything that's going on. So I mean the speculation of a super team, obviously he in a way controls it and sees it.
Correct.
Like he knows what the GMs are thinking,
And
or
he
at
knows
least-
what he can do next year. He knows the capabilities of who he can get. So his super team, I really do feel it is like a kind of a warning call. Is like, yo, boys, step up to the plate, or you'll all be replaced next year because I am going to win a championship, another one, before I retire, and I'm afraid you boys are not going to bring me there. If you can't do it now while you're healthy, you're not going to ever do it.
Yeah, and the thing I love about the NBA offseason is just that whirlwind of moving players.
Yeah.
Like football, we don't really see it in the offseason. Everybody gets excited about the offseason, but can you name one player that moved around?
What, in the offseason?
Yeah.
The
NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
not.
mean,
like
it's not gonna really matter.
No, it's not like
come
the NBA.
Sunday. Yeah, not like the NBA where one player can basically ruin a franchise or take it to that next level.
Correct.
So that's what I love about the NBA offseason. I know we were talking about the Cavs heavily, but let's kind of just knock out the whole Eastern Conference as we started on the Eastern Conference.
I agree. We definitely spend way too much time talking about the West because they're amazing, but we'll go into the East here a little bit. One thing that I've noticed big time, maybe you can help me out here, is what in the hell happened with Chicago and Washington? Two teams that easily, even right now, you guess, if you had people that had no basketball knowledge of what their actual wins and losses are, if you said who are the teams making it out of the East and the West, you'd be like, oh yeah, the Wizards are probably the third or fourth seed, and so are the Chicago's up there. They are, neither of them are going to make the playoffs.
No, Chicago and Washington are 3 games out with, like you said, anywhere from 9 to 11 games, and I don't think they can make up that deficit unless they're playing. I mean, they usually try to schedule division games, so I know Indiana and Chicago are in the same division. Maybe they square up a couple. I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule, but Washington has the built-in excuse of like guys going down left and right. I mean, besides John Wall, and this is the point about John Wall, like you've got to be good enough to drag them to the playoffs.
Correct.
I mean, as good as we think you are, you have to take them to that level, and he's been relatively healthy all year, and it's I don't know, Jerry, is John Wall ever going to be good, or are we going to see the next version of him?
No,
before he...
and I feel like this is a testament to how good these players really are. Like, are they really this good? Because if they're playing in a really weak East, and the East is the weakest it's been maybe in 10 years, I don't think I've seen a weaker East where you honestly are like, no, the Cavaliers are decent. Toronto, through Miami, you could maybe say are halfway decent. Anybody else is shit on there. Charlotte's playing good basketball, but they're not going to do anything against anybody. And then like somebody like Andre Drummond is right now bringing the Pistons up into the 8th seed. How are you not doing it, John Wall? Or Chicago even more when people are like, oh, yeah, Pau Gasol and Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose, they're all having pretty legit seasons. Oh, they are? Because I'm pretty sure they're not going to make the playoffs. So all of those guys that are all-stars, every single one of them is an all-star, you have to make your team make the playoffs. Like, what the fuck? On a weak-ass Eastern Conference that is truly the weakest maybe in decades, you're not making the playoffs? Like, and you have 3 all-stars in your team? Are you guys really all-stars? Or are you shit? Are you just the best in the East? Like, you are garbage.
I think what's going on in Chicago is there's the old guard of Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, and Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson. And then there's this influence of new talent, Doug McDermott, and kind of Paul Gasol for lack of, he's relatively new to the core, and a couple other guys that they brought on. And I just think it's a clash of like the new guys aren't fitting in with the old guys. The old guys are loyal to Tom Thibodeau and don't want to hear what this new guy has to say. And I think it's a really bad coaching, and I think a lot of guys are bitter about Thibodeau, and I think it carried into the season, and I think it's carrying into the final stretch. So that would be my theory about Chicago. I think during the trade deadline they should have just blown it up, and just kind of restarted with that young core and got rid of Jimmy Butler and got rid of, Chicago fans wouldn't like it, but now they're stuck. Now they're stuck in a spot where I don't know. Next year Orlando might get better. Milwaukee should have been better this year. So there's teams that could, the Knicks could get better if they get another player. We're all waiting for the Knicks to get good.
Boston's obviously on its way up. All these teams are on their way up except for Chicago and Washington, and they don't make sense why they're on their way up. They're like players in their prime other than Powell and Derrick Rose. But
well, let's just go straight up the standing because there's 10 teams remaining. So Detroit, I know you kind of touched on them, Andre Drummond. What about the Pacers? How'd the Pacers get there? They have no big men.
No, they have no big men, but they're playing like the poor man's Golden State with playing Paul George at the 4/5 throughout the games. And Paul George is a good enough player where he is able to do that even with no matter what team you put him on, he's going to drag that team out into the playoffs. So that's how they are there, and he's doing exactly that. He's dragging them just barely into the playoffs. They don't have much else that impresses me.
No, they're going to play. It looks like they're lined up to play Toronto unless they can get out of that 7th seed, and Toronto's going to boat race them.
Yeah,
Toronto's going to sweep them.
They will.
As we move to Charlotte's a team that's actually been playing really well.
Really well, and I could see them upsetting the Hawks very easily.
Well, what happened, which is really underrated, probably the biggest move of the trade deadline was Courtney Lee.
Yeah.
From Memphis. When Memphis lost Marc Gasol, they said, all right, let's get something for Courtney Lee.
Correct.
And Jordan took a chance of all right, let's go for it, and let me get Courtney Lee. And he's actually been really good.
Yeah, he has. And I like Courtney Lee as a player. I think he's great.
I think he's underrated.
He is very underrated.
He does all the things. He does unbox score. He's a box score guy, I guess.
Correct.
He just does everything.
Yeah, I agree.
So them getting that player, I think they're going to be.
I think if they play Atlanta in the first round, they will beat Atlanta. Yeah. I think if you're them, you're kind of hoping against them versus Boston, Miami, Toronto. That's who I'd want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think Charlotte can hang with any of those teams.
Correct.
As we get that little group from 3 to 6 looks like they're all going to stay put because they're not going to catch Toronto, and I don't think they're going to fall down to Indiana. So these next 4 teams are all going to be playing each other.
Yep.
Miami Heat, Jerry.
Miami could do some stuff in the playoffs. We'll see how Joe Johnson reacts. Let's see how Dwayne Wade reacts to being next year on the super team. Maybe he wants to just slow up because he knows he's going to have a big season next season. But that's another man who you could obviously LeBron and him have been talking because he's also waiting on he's going to be renewing a different contract. So who knows? He could be. But they could actually do something I see in the playoffs. They
got a good coach.
They got a good coach.
With all being said, Spoelstra was able to keep LeBron.
Yeah.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
Basically have his ear for 4 years.
Which we see now is a feat in its own since David Blatt lasted, in a very much winning season, lasted only half season.
Yeah, so. In a season where you were up 2-1 against probably the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Historically ever. But, let's move up to Boston. Boston, to me, come playoff time, I just don't see him
doing too much. Yeah,
I don't see him get. I think they're going to fight hard, but I don't think they're going to get out of the first round again.
Yeah, we've talked about this in previous shows. How there's some teams that are able to, once you get into the playoffs, you have to be able to kind of put into that next level. You change gears, and you're now in playoff mode. Boston, I think they are playing in their playoff mode. You're not going to see a better team than they are. I think they play great, but they're not going to do anything crazy.
Yeah, because it all boils down to those last 2 minutes come playoff basketball. If the game isn't blown out, and all the teams seem to keep it within 5 points, and Boston, there is no Isaiah Thomas. You really going to rely on that?
And that's who's the one who's going to take that last shot in the last minute, and then he's 5'9".
Yeah, I mean, all being said, like Nate Robinson had his run as far as that best under 6 foot player. There will be no other Nate Robinsons.
Yeah, and Nate Robinson was 2 inches taller than him, so
yeah.
So that's. I mean, he's this tiny dude. When my cousin went to the game recently, he sat front row, and he said he texted me a picture of him kind of standing with Isaiah Thomas behind him, and he was like, "Isaiah Thomas is truly your height," and I was like, and he's like, "You could have been in the NBA."
Well, you're still active, Jerry. I mean, you still got a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to play for Brokebat Mountain tonight, softball, so I got a shot.
Yeah, for those listening on the podcast, Jerry's got a, I don't know, that thing's as bright as the hot lights are on the camera. So
we're bright.
Yeah.
We're 2-0 right now.
Yeah, good.
Run ruled both teams.
Wow. It's defending the title, too?
No, this is that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So we actually dropped down in the league. We won the title 2 years ago.
Now you're sandbagging.
Now we're sandbagging back.
All right,
when we picked up most of Terry's players. So.
Oh, Terry's. Well, let's keep going. As we get to the Hawks, I think out of those 4 teams, I mean, I still think Charlotte's the best out of those 4 teams.
Who
do you like out of those 4 teams?
Miami is my favorite.
That's your favorite?
4. Yeah.
Atlanta is a good team again, and are they going to do what they did last year? I mean, they swept everybody up until they got to Cleveland.
And then they got swept.
Yeah. So they got a good coach. They've got relatively the same team. I'm interested in seeing what happens. I don't think DeMar Carroll's back.
No,
not DeMar Carroll. I'm sorry. That's
DeMar Carroll definitely not back.
Yeah, he's definitely not back. And
he's back in Boston.
Yeah, no, he's with Toronto.
Or Toronto, I mean.
Yeah. So I don't know about Atlanta. I don't.
That's big. Is that they're not going to have a defender like DeMar Carroll from last year, where he was able to defend the number 1 guy, and now they don't have that defender. And that team relies heavily on Kyle Korver playing well, and he's been streaky this year.
Yeah, he hasn't played
last
well
year. He was lights out.
Yeah.
Until the Cavs series, he was absolutely lights out all year, and this year he has been streaky. So
yeah, and I just don't see him. I don't see him getting past. Charlotte's going to be a tough out, is all I'm going to say. It'll be exciting too when playoffs start. Obviously, it would be like the tournament.
Yeah.
We go up to Toronto, and everybody's thinking that Toronto's got a legitimate shot. Tell me why they don't, Jerry.
Why they don't have a little legitimate shot against Cleveland?
Yeah, because I see them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
They don't. I definitely see that. They don't match up well against Cleveland at all. They might be a pretty decent team, but they match up very poorly against Cleveland. They have no answer for LeBron, none.
Yeah,
they don't have any answer for anybody.
If they had DeMar Carroll, I don't think they're going to get him back this year. They might have stood a good punter's chance.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry is the only thing that's going to be a problem, but it's just because Kyrie is such a terrible defender. But I mean, you have the ability to put Dellavedova in and then kind of play Kyrie as the 2 guard instead.
And DeMar DeRozan, as good as he is, he just needs that. He needs to become an outside shooter a little bit more. I mean, he can attack the rim, get fouled, but he just needs that. He needs that shot to kind of spread out the D.
And rim protection is something that Cleveland has.
Yeah,
they have plenty of that. So they're gonna struggle against Cleveland, but I mean they could sweep their way through the rest of the East.
Yeah, well. Now we get to Cleveland, and we've talked at length about LeBron and the Cavs and what might happen. What is their biggest advantage going into the playoffs, Jerry? Like, what do you think?
LeBron James is the biggest advantage. The worst advantage is this weird ass attitude that everyone has on the team. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they do that during the playoffs. You are going to get your ass beat by somebody like the Raptors, who are playing their asses off. Like, I'm waiting for this team to actually step up and chase down balls. Like the other night, LeBron playing against Brooklyn. LeBron, he was complaining his ass off about the defense not making the right rotations and stuff, but he wasn't doing anything either. He was standing there complaining, and he would just stand in the same spot on the baseline, just yelling at players, just watching balls go in, watching layups get. And I was like, as a player that you're trying to show the defense what they're supposed to do, you don't just stand there and do nothing. Like you defend, do some push your way through screens, show them how they're supposed to be aggressively playing defense, not standing there. Oh, what the hell? You're supposed to make the switch on that, and then when somebody blows by you, you're yelling at them still, so they blow by you, and you're just like, well, I'm just trying. You're not showing a good example. Lead by example. Don't do not do as I say, but do as I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's not. Like against Brooklyn, it was like, what the hell are you doing, man? Are you trying to lose this game? Because, I mean, they did. Against a terrible Brooklyn team that has 20 wins. You lost, and you looked really bad defensively, and you didn't do anything. Like, defensively, you personally looked bad. So I want to know what side are we going to see of the Cavaliers? Because I haven't seen intensity yet this season.
And it's hard to manufacture that.
Correct.
It's hard to just flip the switch.
And maybe that's what LeBron's frustrated. Maybe he's like, 2 seasons now, I've gone to Kyrie and I've gone to Kevin Love, and they're just not those types of guys. They just don't have the fire. Like kind of how The Truth last year said it. He said, Paul Pierce, he said, some guys just don't have that fire in them. And he said John Wall and Bradley Beal did not have that fire. He said some guys they just don't got it. They don't have the fire.
And the truth was spoken.
The truth
because
was spoken, obviously they're not making the damn playoffs
Yeah.
without Paul Pierce. And I think maybe if Paul Pierce was on that team, he'd be saying the same thing about Kyrie and Kevin Love. He'd say some guys just don't have that fire, and those boys don't. So they'll never win a championship because they don't. They don't know that extra level. They don't know that extra push. They just are who they are, and they're content with it. And Kyrie, I know he wants to be more, but it's just put in the effort, my man. Stay in after practice. Stay and be the best defender in the world. Say I don't want to leave this gym until I know how to defend pick and roll, because you can't right now. You cannot.
Well, Jerry, I want to get you out of here on time to go play. We're going to run down through the West. Before we do that, I'm going to let you guys know how you can support the show. Guys, go to rcrradio.com. We're getting ready to start a Jaguar podcast for those listening in Jacksonville. So talking a little football here in March. Doesn't make much sense to me, but a lot of things don't, Jerry. Or in April.
Hey, Jaguars are going to be good.
The draft is coming.
Got some season tickets. We're Section 116.
All right. So, but the draft's coming up, so we're going to start talking Jaguars here on RCR Radio. Not myself, but some other another team of guys. RCR Radio. We also have the River City Rant. We're actually big thing going on in November, Jerry. A little election. So gonna start a political podcast as well for you guys. So got a little variety for you.
I will steer clear of that one.
Yeah, I am too, Jerry. I don't want anything to do with it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. But how you support RCR Radio and all the things we got going on is go to rcrradio.com. There's an Amazon banner at the top of the link. Just click that banner. It takes you to Amazon. Just buy what you normally would from Amazon, and a little bit goes back to us. Jerry, I recently bought Jonathan Abrams' book that I know you're dying to read. He's an NBA writer. He wrote the book From Preps to Pros, and it's the story of all these guys that went from high school to the pros. He's been doing a lot of interviews on like the Bill Simmons podcast, Zach Lowe's podcast, and it seems like a really interesting book. And for an NBA fan like me, I love reading about the NBA. And
sure.
You can get it, whatever you want on Amazon. I mean, short of a, live midget, I think you can get.
I think you can get that too.
You can get that too. It's not Craigslist. It's not Craigslist.
No, Craigslist. You got to go pick it up. Amazon, they'll drop it off in a little hovercraft or whatever.
All right. A drone. Yeah, drone. Yeah,
hovercraft. They'll come in a hovercraft over the water.
Yeah,
if that's the route you're going.
But we're getting close, guys. We're getting close to, and we try each and every week to, get some content for you to enjoy. So let's get back to it, Jerry. Let's break down the Western Conference and let's get the hell out of here. I kind of like what we did and just kind of ran bottom up. So let's just start at the bottom of the barrel with those LA Lakers. I mean, are you going to miss Kobe?
Yes. God, yes, I'm going to miss Kobe. I mean, not this year miss him, but like miss him previous years. I could give watching him is just it makes me sad watching him. It makes me sad because one, I'm not going to see him anymore, but two, just him jack up 40 shots and make 6 of them. It's pretty rough.
Well, him leaving, Jerry, is like just basically an end of an era. It's like it's really like when I look at it, like he's played 20 years.
Yeah,
I've watched Kobe Bryant's entire career.
Yeah.
You've watched his entire career,
correct?
And it's over. And it's like I don't know how to remember this guy. I don't.
Villain, rapist, great, one of the best players of all time. Yeah, you got your picks.
Nope.
Didn't do it, Jerry.
we had a nice interview with Kobe once, and he had that word a lot.
That's my go-to move.
That's right.
So, I don't know how to remember him either. I'll just, the Kobe and Shaq stuff just seems like eons ago.
It does, doesn't it? It seems how long ago was that? Like 12 years ago?
Yeah, I'm gonna remember those battles with Boston, and that's kind of gonna be the highlight of watching it and thinking about it. So I mean, I'm gonna miss him, and I'm gonna miss Meta World Peace because I'm sure he's gone after this is done too. I heard he's getting like 30 minutes a game here lately.
I didn't even notice that he was getting
because no one's watching Lakers.
No one's watching Lakers.
But they're ensuring the bottom out.
Good.
So they're like Meta World Peace, and he got ejected. Here this past
week. Does that surprise anyone?
Yeah.
I'd like Meta World Peace to go on. And
I just love how Meta World Peace is like one of the most unpeaceful NBA players.
He's the least peaceful human maybe in the world.
Yeah.
Like him and Ray Lewis maybe. Those are the two least. And it's funny because they have the same demeanor. I've always compared them to. I'm like, Metta World Peace is the Ray Lewis of the NBA, but he never got the chance to hit people on a daily basis.
We don't know. Let's not.
That's true. He probably took it to a few women in his day. But I'm saying, like, he never got to, like, during practice, stick a bunch of people. So it's like Metta had to take it out in other ways by, like, threatening Kobe. You remember when he threatened Kobe's life that one time when he was on the Rockets?
Oh, yeah. That's when I actually made that a profile pic.
Did you? When he was like this?
Yeah, because I've got a profile pic of him, like, poking Kobe in the face. And I'm like, I love Ron Artest.
I know, it's the best.
I love Ron Artest. So I'm going to miss him, Jerry. Let's get to the Phoenix Suns.
I was going to say, let's just jump all the way up to the Mavericks.
All right. Well, I want to talk about these. Yeah, wow. The Mavericks, as we currently stand, are in the 9th seed.
Which I really hope that they get over that slump. Get the hell of the Utah's Jazz out of there. Or Houston. Houston plays the Cavaliers tomorrow night, Tuesday night. LeBron's not playing, so they're probably going to get a win there, which sucks. I don't know. Man.
Really, the Dallas is going to be the most interesting. The Western finish is going to be the finish.
Yeah.
All these 7, 8, and 9 are all only separated by one game.
Look at the Grizzlies. Like, they truly just tried getting out of the playoffs there. They were like, blow it up. And since then, they've gone 3-7. Like, they tried, but they're not going to fall that far.
They're not.
They're
still
going to make the playoffs.
They blew it up, and I think they're going to give LA a run for their money. But let's stay with Dallas. Let's stay with Dallas. I know Todd. We're missing Todd this episode. Rest in peace. And
we saw you at your house. We saw your car there, Todd.
Yeah,
I saw your truck.
But Dallas, I hope Dirk gets in. I don't think it's going to be his last season. I think he played too well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, and he still has a lot to offer. He's still a man that could put in 15, 20 minutes a night and put in solid minutes. I don't think he should be leaving.
Yeah, so Dallas. All right, let's go. Let's just group these teams together. Houston. I know there was the Stickum episode since we last reported. No fine, no suspension, just a letter like, hey, knock it off. But what do you feel about that, Jerry? You use any performance enhancing tools when you play any sports?
I did have a vitamin C before I went out tonight. That's more to get my cold underway, but yeah, so that's my performance enhancing. No, I've never used it. I've never even used protein or anything. I'm very against unnatural supplement. I mean, not protein's unnatural, but like an excess amount of it where people take it and put powders in their shit. And I've never used anything.
I use a lot of trash talk. I use a lot of hand checking. That's kind of my game. As we get to the Utah Jazz, I mean, everybody thought the Utah Jazz were going to make this leap and make the playoffs this year. We kind of thought New Orleans would be up here too, but people were. Utah was kind of my dark horse. I actually had them making the playoffs, and so they're in it and making my prediction look, or as it stands now.
Gordon Hayward's probably the best American-born white man that there is in the game.
Yeah.
Right now.
All right. So we got 3 teams right there. Jerry, who do you think is going to be out? Utah, Houston, Dallas. When we come back next week.
I say that probably Houston will be out.
I think Houston as well too. I think they're going to drop out of the playoffs. As we move up to Portland, it looks like it's going to guaranteedly, if they stay in this spot, they're going to end up, and it looks like they're probably not going to catch Memphis. They're going to get a date with Oklahoma City. Yep. They're going to get boat raced.
Anybody, those top 4 teams who already are in the playoffs are the 4 obviously favored, and they're gonna beat the shit out of whoever they play. There's gonna be no even not even I would think sweeps throughout all 4 of these first rounds.
Wow. I disagree, Jerry. Going into the 5th seed, the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis always plays okay. Or the Clippers tough.
They play everybody tough for some reason in the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're missing Courtney Lee now.
Correct.
And so that'll be a big loss. But I think they're gonna win a game or 2 against LA. I don't think as we move up to the Clippers without Blake Griffin, they are just gonna be sitting ducks for Golden State in round 2.
Yes.
I think they will get past Memphis. I think that's a locked in series matchup. We go to OKC, my big bet, hoping they're gonna win the whole damn thing. This past Saturday, Jerry, they did boat race San Antonio.
Yeah.
Blew them out by over 20.
I like your boat race that you've been using a lot.
I don't know where it's coming from.
I love it, boat race. I'm gonna go boat race tonight. My softball team.
All right,
we're gonna
so
go boat race against DNL Pizzas.
I hate DNLP.
Yeah, that's who we played tonight, which is my other team.
Funny story, and I know it's a little off topic, and then we'll blow through the rest of this. I went to DNLP. I saw the flag on the front of the counter. The owner was actually talking to me. I said, I wasn't trying to be smart or anything, but I'm like, oh, that's the Mexican flag. The guy looked at me like he could have killed me.
It was probably Dan's dad, right?
It was the kid.
Oh, it was?
It was the kid. But anyways, he stopped talking to me and walked off from the register. Like it was mid-sentence, and like he looked at me like he wanted to kill me and got off the register and told somebody else to go ring us up.
That's funny.
Just because I called the Italian flag the Mexican flag.
I mean, I'm not offended.
No. Simple mistake.
I play for that team as well, so it's interesting because they actually text me and they're like, "So are you playing for Brokebat?" And I said, "Call me Benedict Arnold tonight, boys, because I'm playing for Brokebat."
San Antonio.
San Antonio.
I'm going to love it.
Phenomenal season. I cannot wait to see them play OKC. I mean, that's going to be an unbelievable series.
I think it's going to be tough to get by OKC. I think OKC will give them everything that they got. And then as we move to the to end the show, Jerry, are they getting the record?
They're getting the record. They're not getting to the finals though. San Antonio will beat them. Boom.
Boom. That's
it.
Let's mail it in.
Let's mail it in.
I'm going to Cleveland on vacation.